VoiceMeeter is an application that allows you to control audio inputs and outputs. As I move stuff around here, including myself, we're going to take a look at how it exactly all works. Now, this is what's called Donoware. You are available to try it, and then eventually you will get a pop-up that shows up on screen asking you to donate. You could wait out the time and continue to use it for a specified time limit, which is usually 5 hours or 6 hours. You could use it without donating to the program, and then it will prompt you to donate again. Once that prompt comes up, it'll put a timer on the button, and then you'd have to wait out that timer. So if you're doing long streams or you're using it in a professional manner, I would suggest donating to it. Obviously, I have an unregistered version because I have not donated yet. But it is fairly cheap. I am just that broke right now. So anyways, what we're looking at today is how to use it. Let me explain to you guys what we're looking at, because it looks a little complicated, but it's really not that complicated at all. So the first thing we're going to look at is the area called inputs. These all over here represent physical input devices that connect to your computer in various ways. So my first one here is my microphone that I'm using right now, and because of that, you could control various different options. Right now, I'm just going to show you each of these parts as we go down, and I'll show you in real time how they affect the sound of your mic. And this could also help to make your mic sound a lot more clear and crisp, and even drown out some of that background audio. So right here is the noise gate, and this you could turn up, and it's less responsive to noises in the background. So I'm going to click. Let's let it kick in first. All right. So sometimes you might have to turn up. I'm clicking pretty close to the mic, but if you notice when I go to speak, from when it activates, it takes a second to as you notice, it cuts off really quickly to kick in. There we go. We gotta go real close. All right. So we'll turn the noise gate all the way down. You might be able to hear some fuzz from my computer. I'll also turn down the denoiser, which is this one right here. And say let's turn on a random TikTok.
How about this one? Are you kidding?
As you can hear, you could probably get some of that ambient noise. But say you had a computer that was really loud, maybe you're using a fan, it cuts out that low kind of hiss in the background. It's very helpful, especially if you don't have like a foam on your walls and that sort of thing. I'm going to turn my noise gate back up. Right up here is your FX echo. You could put it into different places, and it's going to change the depth and sound. These are the extreme areas, of course. And you can make it sound like you're through a microphone or an old speaker if you want. You could go down in here, and this is high, low. I usually keep it right around here in this area. That's where I like to put it. The other thing we have here is modulation. Modulation, you could do some cool effects. Maybe you want to make yourself sound like an alien. Obviously, it gets to a point where it's so distorted that it becomes really hard to understand, but can be fun. It's very simple sound effects with your voice, nothing crazy easy. It's not going to make you sound like a little kid or Darth Vader or anything like that, unless you have maybe like a good Darth Vader impression in your pocket. The next thing is position, and if you have a 3D audio device, it is enhanced by using this, but this can simulate where the voice is coming from, and this is better experience with headphones. So I'll do it again real quick. If you don't have headphones in, pause the video, put your headphones in, and you can experience what it is: left channel, left channel, left channel, right channel, right rear, center rear, rear words, and left rear. All right. So that is that. These down here, you could add effects. You know what? Honestly, I don't use them that much, and I really don't think they're necessary unless you're doing some professional recording. For as far as streaming, this is going to be a better situation that is usable in those scenarios. But for streaming, these are the ones that are most helpful. You can use gain, but man, unless your mic is in a situation where it's not really working well for you, it's not really worth it. Again, these two are the most that you're going to use, especially in a streaming environment. Now, some of the mics that you use may come with 2 speakers to level out the sound, and it even may have 2 channels, and you could see that. Let me move my head out of the way. You can see that here in these bars that are represented. That is 2 channels coming through. If you want to make your audio just sound very unified, hit the mono, and it's going to make the audio come out through both channels a little bit more unified, or a lot. And these are layman's. I'm not an audio engineer. This is just from what I have found playing with the program. So same thing on solo. Solo is going to do the same thing, but it's I don't know how to explain it. It unifies the sound channels. I could show you with these other devices that are going off over here. Okay. Anyway, and you could also mute devices, which is this button right over here. So let's go over to my next audio device. These are all the audio devices that I have connected or at one point connected. Some of them are virtual devices, and we'll go over that in a second. But a lot of them are physical devices, like the rear panel audio, front panel audio. They may be USB devices, such as the microphone on my webcams, or this. Now, this is already assigned to the first section here. This is where my HyperX solo cast is put and outputs. So this one is my webcam. I use it, but you can set it up, and then what you want to do, I'll turn it on. You can hear what that sounds like, and you'll probably hear why I don't use it. It picks up a lot of background noise. All right. Now, this is my webcam, and as you can hear, it sounds real bad. And you can, of course, change it around. I had modulation set up because I had an idea, it didn't really come into fruition, but you can still play with it in the same way, but it's really hard to hear. It's supposed to be a wide area cam meant for maybe a much louder voice output. Maybe you're giving a presentation or something like that. Actually, that's not this webcam. That's my other webcam, my C922. The webcam that's on right now is my Logitech Brio. It's a 4K web camera. But anyways, so let me turn that one off. We don't really necessarily want to hear that. And this is my Logitech Brio. It sounds a lot different than my other one. You can still play with it, but it's a lot different than my solo cast. Again, it's a webcam camera, so it's not necessarily as good as a dedicated device. But if I wanted to, I could run it through and use it for audio for things if I really wanted. All right. So if you notice, now I'm yelling. So if you notice at the bottom here, you have these channels, right? And they're repeated across the way. These first ones, these A outputs, that's what these are. A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5 all correlate to hardware out. And that's over here in this corner. All right, so up here, these are hardware outs. You click on these, it's going to bring down a drop-down menu that doesn't show up in this window. So now we're going to have to turn that off so I can show you the drop-down menu that comes out. All right. So you could go over here. These are all physical devices and virtual audio out device signals. I don't know if that makes sense. That's probably not the right wording, but virtual audio devices and physical devices. So we hit A1. As you can tell, I have this set up for my Realtek digital out. That should be one of the ports on my computer that is used for headphones, or one of my headphone jacks. I have this on the rear one. This is A2. And you can set them to any one you want. A2 is an MME speaker device, Realtek audio, and it has the R there. That's rear. Most of the time, your computer will self-label these, and they'll show up like that in some various way. It might say front panel or an R or something like that. Front panel is usually the better connection, but yeah. So you can set it up like that. You could even add other devices. Say you wanted sound to come out your monitor, you could hit the LG. I don't actually have any physical speakers on the monitor, but it does have a headphone out. So if I wanted my headphones connected to the monitor instead of the computer, I would just hook it up to that, and then I would select the LG. And I could going to change anything. There might be a little hiccup in the audio, but you're not going to change anything well enough for it to break stuff. Okay. Now, this is where things get a little more complicated. You could have up to 5 output devices, and you can have up to 5 input hardware devices of physical audio or virtual audio devices. We're not going to go over virtual audio devices right now because it's going to complicate things, but it is something that's included with VoiceMeeter Potato here. But for your uses, the only things you really need to worry about are virtual inputs. These 3 correlate, B1, B2, and B3 correlate to these ones. This is lane B1, this is lane B2, and this is lane B3. And now we're going to bring up, let's sound settings. So over here you have what would be B1, B2, and B3. Well, let's go over here to my other this is what my system looks like in the system sound. This is going to be just your normal Windows system sound settings. Over here, you're going to choose your output, and you want to find the virtual audio device you want to use. We wanted to use B3 or AIO3, virtual audio input output 3. Now this is where all your main sound is going to come out from. At least this is how I have it set up. People sometimes set it up differently, where your audio comes out of the first one over here. I use it as a third one, just to keep it in order in my head, and you'll see why in a second. This is where all my audio comes out, and my audio comes out of virtual audio input output 3. So I have it set in the system settings, in the system sound, and you'll see it down here, virtual audio input output 3 as an input. It'll show up as an input, and it says VB audio voice meter, and then it repeats VAIO 3 default device. I set that to my default device on my Windows settings. So anything that I open now, Chrome, Fortnite, anything like that is going to be routed through here first. Okay. And then when it's routed through there, it's going to come out of this. And then I could set which outputs it actually comes out of, if that makes sense, even itself. So even though I have sound here, I could actually come over here and disable that sound output if I really wanted to. I could also disable the sound output to my headphones separately. So now you guys are hearing it on stream because I have it set up differently for stream or for recording, but normally I could cut that audio out completely. So I'm going to put the audio back on so I could hear the game music that you guys were hearing just a moment ago in the background, or probably still are. As I said, I have it set up a little bit differently within the application. Then the other thing is we go down inside the sound settings in system sound. We go down to input right here, and you find where you want the sound come out of. Now I want all my sound to come out of auxiliary VAIO, and that is represented in the second one, the second column here. This is the VoiceMeeter auxiliary, and it doesn't say VAIO in the main part, but it is what it is. That's what it is. Okay. So now all my mic sound that I'm currently using right now gets routed through that. So I could turn it off in my output, and I could turn it off in my headset. Now this audio right here, this is for application capture. Okay. This application capture means that in Fortnite or any other type of game that you may be playing, you would set this to be your microphone. So on the input page, auxiliary VoiceMeeter auxiliary output is set to the input, and that is going to be basically your mic. That's going to be your mic right there. Okay. So let's hook that up. Again, I have it set up a little bit differently for this video purposes. So obviously it's not cutting out my sound, but if you were using, if you were playing a video game or something like that, you would want it to be cut off, or you could cut it off separately from that. And then this is, you could also use it as an input output. So I could also direct sound separately inside of Fortnite to come through this channel. Say you're playing with randoms and you don't know what they're going to do on voice chat. That's what you're going to do. So you're going to come over here inside Fortnite, boop, and you can set it separately. Go to audio. You come down here, voice audio input or output device, and see it's voice audio input output 3. That's where all the game sound is going to come in now through the headphones, and wherever else I direct it to. Okay, and we go down here. Let's go to voice communication. Now, if you notice, my chat input device is set to VoiceMeeter. Which one is this? Which one? I don't even remember where I have it. Virtual audio input. So that is the first one. Okay. That is this one right here. Let me make that big for you guys real quick. So my audio is being routed through this lane. Okay. And I could choose where that audio goes afterwards. Now, you could set it up different ways. I have it going through two different places, and that's how come you're able to hear me still, even though there's nothing selected there. And then this one, this is the chat output device. Now, I could change where the audio for this one is going to come out. So this is the auxiliary. So that's that middle lane right here in the middle lane. And this is where all the chat comes from when you're playing with randoms in the lobby or your friends. And you can turn off if it's being heard on stream or not. So this, if I were to do this, this would make this audio channel only being able to be heard in my headphones and not to the rest of the stream or any of my other devices or anything like that. I could turn it on or off as I please and send it to wherever. Okay, let's go ahead and move that out of the way. And that just allows you some control over what's going on, who's chatting. And you could quickly mute their audio without having to go into the menus and mute individual persons. It's helpful if you have some rowdy people, or maybe people that you still want to communicate with, but they don't necessarily have the proper decorum that is needed for the platform you're on. The other thing is, if you notice, there's going to be some controls, some extra controls on audio that's coming through anywhere. So as you can see, I have Steam open. If I wanted to, I can mute that Steam channel correctly individually. And I can mute all these individually. If you have it overpopulated with inputs and outputs, though, it's hard to see. So let's close Steam. Exit Steam. That should remove Steam from there, because it has its own things going on, which we could get into, but we don't really need to right now. So as you can tell, Fortnite is right there, and I could turn Fortnite all the way down if I wanted. And now Fortnite is gone. Or I could turn it back up and change the level of what that sounds like coming out all by itself. So if you had maybe a Discord mod that needs to reach out to you really quickly, you could turn that lower down and it would be just a whisper in your ear if you needed to. All right. Or maybe you're watching some TikTok videos, but they're really loud. You could turn it down. Now down here, this next part, these are all physical audio. Well, I should say these first ones are physical audio outputs. So again, I could go down over here and turn down my headset and what I'm hearing in my ear to my physical audio completely. Or you could adjust it, you could turn it up, you could change equalizer settings, balance, that sort of stuff. Same thing with over here is I could come over here and see these, it's matching this one over here. All right, this first put. This is audio going out to these channels, and that's, you could change how loud or how big that needs to be. Now, there's one more thing I want to show you, and I didn't learn this one until late. If you need to limit the audio to a certain decibel, you could go over here to the side, and you can pull down and limit your voice. And it cuts it off, so you can make it real tiny or real big. You probably didn't hear anything I said by pulling it down, but you can pull it down into the green and you're still able to hear it. So that's VoiceMeeter. There's a lot more stuff you could do with it. You could record audio. You can change a lot of the sound. All sorts of stuff. But for streaming needs, that's all you really need to know. How to be able to control the sound going in, the sound going out to your headphones, and the sound going out to your stream. One more thing which is nice about VoiceMeeter is that if you're ever in a situation where your microphone or your audio devices just kind of freak out on you in the middle of a stream, or maybe you're recording content, usually what you need to do is restart. But you could actually go over here to the menu and you can reinitialize your settings. And you could go hit menu, and then you can actually go restart audio engine, and this will reinitialize all of the drivers and virtual devices and settings. Not from scratch. You'll still keep what you have set up right here, but sometimes, you'll have that weird bug on Windows where the audio will just quit randomly. Just hit restart engine. It'll disappear for a second and then it'll come back. Okay, so you might have heard a hiccup in my speaking right then and there. That was the audio engine literally resetting. You could go, and there's all sorts of other stuff to do. You don't really need to worry about any of that right now. You could go ahead and look at it, jump around, and if you're an audio person, you already know what a lot of this stuff does, and it should be fairly familiar to you, and you probably didn't need to watch this video at all. But anyways, all right. If you have any more questions, let me know. I could dig deeper into it. But this is VoiceMeeter Banana or VoiceMeeter Potato. You could just look up VoiceMeeter Potato. The site will come up. It's don't know where. There's one called VoiceMeeter Banana, which is scaled down from this. I think it only has 3 of the hardware input selectors, and then only 2 of the virtual inputs that are available to use, and it doesn't have as many features. I like using Potato over Banana because it offers me just the right amount of control. It is a bit of a learning curve figuring out VoiceMeeter Potato, because it is basically a virtual audio engineering program, and it's more geared to possibly content creators that are a little bit more savvy but maybe can't afford the more expensive hardware to basically do the same job. That is VoiceMeeter Potato. If you have any questions or want to know about the smaller version, VoiceMeeter Banana, I'll be happy to make a video about that. But basically, anything that I said in this video could be applied to that little piece of software as well. Thank you guys for watching, and go out there and make something cool. Bye.